golf was my life, and I didn't want to give it up. So I went to work.
And remember the name. For just 9 years of age, Rory McIlroy from Hollywood is following in the steps of his golfing hero, Tiger Woods.
Oh my goodness. In your life have you seen anything like that?
And hello, golfers, and welcome to another episode of Making a Club Champion. The tactical, practical philosophies, routines, and rituals from guys on tour, 3D biomechanic coaches, and much, much more. In this episode, we have a gentleman called Pete Taver-Jones. For those of you perhaps not heard of Pete, in 2016, Peter won the Euro Pro Tour Championships at Desert Springs, which gained him access to the Challenge Tour. During this gripping episode, we discuss what it's like to gain a scholarship to American University and win on the college circuit, how I nearly dropped Pete's entire set of clubs into a lake while caddying for him in Spain at the European Tour qualifier, how Pete practices his routines and rituals, how he prepares for each tournament, and what life is really like on the Challenge Tour. I hope you enjoy this episode with a dear friend, and welcome to another episode of Making a Club Champion. Pete Taver-Jones, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Chris. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, of course. So we first met actually when we were in college together in the United States of America.
Yes, rival schools.
Rival schools. You were at Belmont College. For those of you who don't know, the sort of university structure of the state schooling systems is separated into divisions. We were both sort of these average hacks in Division 2 golf, but you became quite good, Pete. So I was just wondering how you got to America, why you chose America, that initial journey for you.
Yeah, well, I was always pretty solid in my county, but I never really sort of played much England stuff. I wasn't good enough to get in the England squad, but I was really good in my county. Got my handicap down to scratch, and I thought, I want to sort of pursue the golf while getting a degree at the same time, sort of thing, which America allows you to do. And luckily my academics were pretty solid as well, because you need academics as well as your golf to be good to get a scholarship out there. And I think I must have been 18 and got a place at Belmont Abbey in North Carolina, half an hour from where you were, which is a lovely city in Charlotte. And that was the journey I took, really.
Did you look at sort of English universities as well, or is it always America?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, I tried to keep my options open. I had a place at Birmingham. They did a golf course as well. I looked at Stirling and a few others in England, but I just felt the sporting, the college system out there, especially for golf, is a lot more competitive and had the weather as well. So in the end, it was a no-brainer really for me.
How did you go about getting that scholarship? What was that process like?
It was okay. Yeah, I went through a recruitment agency, which is actually what I did after I left college. Actually, they basically connect you with coaches, set up a little golf profile for you, and help you through the process. So that's what I did, and the Belmont Abbey coach struck up a relationship with me via sort of emails to begin with, and went out to visit, and I liked it, and that was it really. I felt quite at home straight away.
So you created used an agency, created the profile, your achievements, almost like a resume online, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Maybe I think there's a video of my swing as well, and all my academics as well. So,
and did you have any offers from any other universities, or was it just Belmont Abbey?
There were 3 or 4 other ones, but a lot of them were up north where the weather gets quite cold in the winter. So taking into account everything, location and finance and the golf team standard, Belmont Abbey was top of the list. So yeah, it was a great decision. I really enjoyed the 4 years. and it's 4 years where I really worked hard. I set my mind to it, and yes, I had to work hard at times and get the degree, but I dedicated a lot of time and effort to my golf, and it was a good platform for me to improve, and went from sort of scratch handicap to +3, and just carried on improving, really.
Yeah, so for those that perhaps don't know what a day in a life is like for a college athlete in the States, what was like your day or your average day at Belmont Abbey? And
well, we changed over the 4 years. We had a new coach in the last year and a half, and the new coach implemented set practice and set gym routines most mornings.
What time was that?
6:15 probably in the morning.
Okay.
And it was tough, actually, to be fair. It was tough.
Was that gym or golf in the mornings?
It was some TPI, stretching stuff, and a lot of cardio, actually.
So it's just strictly sort of workouts first thing?
Yeah.
What sort of workouts were you doing?
We were doing, basically, it's almost like a bleep test, but it's not quite as intense as that. So it's basically running, and then a lot of, like I said, TPI stretching. So it's just working on your leg muscles, your core muscles, and your back muscles.
Yeah.
It wasn't really too much weight training going on at that stage. It was more TPI stuff. But, I'm lucky that I've seen a lot of good physios, and I sort of know a lot of good movements to do for my body, especially for golf. So kind of did my own thing a little bit as well. So yeah, first 2 years we had the coach, and that's what we did. And then we had classes from about maybe 8:30 till around 1 or 2.
Okay.
Had lunch, and then we practiced or played, and then came back. Sometimes there was schoolwork to do. Sometimes there was a little bit of sherbets and drinking to enjoy, and there we go. You go on. That was the routine. But like I said, the first 2 years we had. Our coach was quite flexible and relaxed, so we could sort of do what we wanted. So it sort of changed a lot for me midway through.
Is that in terms of golf, is very much up to what you wanted to do? Play 18 holes or practice?
Yeah. You go to the gym if you wanted to, and even if you just went to practice if you wanted to. But for me, I worked hard anyway naturally, so it didn't make too much of a difference. So it was fine. But for others on the team, maybe they actually needed that structure more. But for me, it didn't make too much difference.
And did you go about creating a plan, or was it more just like whatever part of the game you were working on at the time is that I'm going to spend the afternoon doing that? Or how did you structure your golf practice sessions?
Well, every year I was out there, I didn't actually have a car. So I quickly had to sort of think, right, who on the team practices hard? Do I want to practice or play with? And who has a car? You have to sort of fend for yourself a little bit from that aspect. So sometimes I wanted to do certain things, but was limited because X or Y has a car in there during this certain days. But for the most part, the people that I was friends with on the golf team, we generally had a little structure at the start of the week of what we're doing, and I'm pretty much stuck to that. It depended a little bit of tournaments and qualifying and how much practice and playing we want to do before that. But we normally got a sort of structure at the beginning of the week.
What was that? What was that structure sort of look like? If you can remember.
It was normally sort of playing 3 or 4 times a week and having a lot of short game. I remember doing short game 2 days a week, just pure short game.
Chipping and putting?
Golf Club. Chipping and putting and wedge play.
Okay.
We were down there for hours doing that.
And would you make it competitive amongst you guys, or?
Actually, we kind of did our own thing, actually, for the short game. We should have, now, thinking back, we should have made it more competitive between us. We had the odd chipping comp and putting comp, but it was more on our own, really. So we missed the trick there, really. I don't know why that was.
But you're just sort of spending a lot of time, 2 days a week, short game.
Yeah. And my short game improved a lot when I was out there, which was good. My coach helped me with my putting, changed a little bit. So
because it's all different types of grass as well. I remember the first time I went out there, I was coming under and everything, and it was became quite embarrassing pretty quickly. But
yeah, it's different, and you get that playing pro events in different countries. It varies a lot, and you have to adjust. And I think really being honest with yourself and picking your technique apart and saying, right, what will hold up under pressure, getting people to look at it and really just trying to make the changes you need to make and adjust quickly.
Yeah, because was your coach? Because I think some people may have a misconception of maybe some of the coaches in the States that they're not like the coaches in England. They're almost sort of like mentors in a way. So did you seek outside advice for a coach, or was it teammates' advice, or?
No, it was a bit of both really. But I know you are right. A lot of coaches just do the sort of administration side and the organising, but our coach was actually a really good player as well. So you really respected what he said about your game. He kept an eye on maintenance and your grip and your alignment and all that sort of thing. And so he made a few little changes to me that helped, and I listened to what he said. Likewise, a few of the teammates you're playing with, if they see something's a little out, they may say something. So it worked well for me, but it definitely is something to think about. For players thinking about going over there, what they personally need, because it varies between players. For sure.
And then the rest of the week, what was that look like? It was so you spend 2 days a week, short game, and the rest of the week is it mainly playing? Because you have accessibility to, was it a couple of courses?
Yeah, 3 or 4. We normally played Saturday and Sunday, and
is that qualifying or
qualifying a lot of the time? Yeah, and then playing either 9 holes or 18, probably twice during the 5-day week.
And did those scores count, or is it just practice with your teammates in terms of qualification?
Yeah. For qualifying, they all counted. Yeah, and I actually like qualifying to get in the tournaments. It's a fair way of doing it. And I treated them like tournament golf, and I really enjoyed the pressure of it, because the last thing you want to do is not qualify and be stuck on campus going to class when 5 of your team are going to compete in a tournament in some lovely course like Keir Island or somewhere like that. So yeah, it's good pressure. I like the qualifying.
So for those who perhaps don't know how qualifying works, it would be the whole team. It'd be like, say, 20 guys. I don't know in your case. And what would happen? Would it be top 5 scores to count, or 3 and then coaches' picks?
Yeah, I mean, we had top 4 to count, and then 5th was the coach's pick. But the coach always just picked who came 5th anyway. Right. So yeah, it's basically top 5 get through.
Okay, and then tournaments at college level. I remember my first tournament when I went to Plymouth University before I went to America, and we had to organise everything ourselves. We had to pay for the hotel. We had to pay for any food we wanted, which would normally be like, your McDonald's quick takeaway for breakfast. So like nutrition, all of this was something. It was just more of like, let's just get it done. And but in the States, it's very different.
Yeah, it's very professional, I would say, isn't it?
It's almost like a mini PGA Tour event. It's you're not allowed to almost pay for anything. You just turn up and play.
Yeah, you're all in the same kit. You're all in the same golf bag. Yeah, it is professional. It's good, very good, I think.
Do you have any sort of any college stories of or perhaps a tournament which you remember or enjoyed?
They had a golf course, Cuscawilla, that Georgia College hosted. I loved that golf course. I thought it was a brutal test. Greens were absolutely rapid, and I managed to win round there one of my years as well. So I've got fond memories of that one.
And was that 36 hole? How long are these college tournaments?
That was actually a 54 hole. So it's 36 hole first day, and then 18 second day. And the 36 was continuous as well. There's no stop. You just get a packed lunch and you carry on walking around, which can be quite tough.
And did you go in with the sort of mindset of knowing you could win that one, or?
Well, it's funny you say that, really, because that's probably the one thing I started to learn over the 4 years, was to get in that mindset of that I can win. The first 2 years, perhaps I was just kind of going through the motions a little bit and wasn't really in contention, almost making up the numbers a little bit. And then I started to improve a little bit. And then once you start getting a few good results and your comfort zone goes up, you get more comfortable with shooting lower scores. You think, hang on, I can win some of these. And Cuscawilla was the first one I won. It was a really, really strong field. So I didn't really I sort of knew I could win, but I hadn't won before, so there was no reason for me to be really confident. I just knew that I was playing well, and I did try to take care of everything one shot at a time, and came in, and it was all good enough for the tournament to win. So
what
from
sort
there,
of,
you get confidence and carry on going.
What sort of numbers were you shooting, like when you first came in at that college level, and then to the point when you were winning? What was the sort of difference you were looking at?
Well, I was always pretty consistent. I was always quite solid. I rarely shot over 74, but I was just often around par freshman year and second year, and then I just started to post quite a few 4-5 unders consistently in my third and fourth year. So you start shooting 4 or 5 under quite a few times, and it racks up. Before you know it, you're lifting a few trophies.
Yeah. How many did you win in your course of your college time?
I won 3.
3, okay.
3, yeah. So, yeah, it was good. And the confidence I got from that, I came back to England and I thought, right, I want to win these English big national competitions here now. Whereas before I didn't really have that. And I really felt like I could win. I mean, it's amazing the confidence it can give you winning. It's just brilliant. Yeah.
What if you're looking back on it? You remember that game you took to on your sort of first year at college, to the point when you were winning? What was the sort of biggest leap in terms of your game that enabled those sort of 4 to 5 unders?
I mean, I improved a little bit on my technique. I filled out a bit physically, maybe hit it a little bit further, and just tidied up a little bit of my putting and chipping, and all parts of my game just got a tiny bit better. But I think the main thing was mentally, just thinking that I could do it. And it's a weird one because it's not really tangible in the sense, right, this is improving and it's better. You just have to trust it's there, and it's something that slowly builds. But definitely I got a lot more confident in my ability third and fourth year, and a lot more comfortable, I guess, with being in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember when we because Belmont, my school and your school was a rival college, and our glorious captain of our college decided to do a match against yours one afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think we played against each other, didn't we? And,
yes, we did.
Very much drinking was involved, and if it was if you missed a fairway, you had to take a shot of vodka. If you free putted on the green, it was a shot of vodka. If you swore
anywhere
on the course because you hit a bad shot, it was a shot of vodka. So not many people made it. Not many people made it past the 12th or 13th.
No, yeah.
Before they were making swings on their knees. But I distinctly remember I was like, a couple of years later, I was like, God, I keep seeing Pete at the top of the leaderboard all the time. And you played some, probably good golf with a couple of whiskeys or vodkas under your belt, but you definitely made some significant leaps during your time in college. So
yeah, I have. I just tried to gradually improve, I suppose. Every year, just keep improving and being honest with yourself and thinking, right, this realistically needs improvement, and working on it. And that's what I did, really. So,
was that because you were working towards a bigger goal? Because is this something you desperately wanted to do as soon as you graduated?
It's a good question, really. It's kind of what I've always been like. You know what golf is like. You get hooked on it and you just always want to improve. Whether I had that desire to improve because I wanted to, become a professional and win lots of money and win tournaments, or whether it was just, wanted to improve my golf game for the sake of improving it, I don't really know, to be honest. Because there's a bit of both. Probably a bit of both.
There's also there's like the fear, the side of it as well, isn't it? It's I'm not getting it better, so I may as well just, I don't know, I'll just go and get a job. But it's quite powerful for someone, I think, to really sort of home in on it and trust it and really, go all out for it. You practice probably like you had nothing to lose, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going all in. Yeah, exactly. And it can be tough. It's not for everyone, the pro lifestyle, and
the thing is, there's always ups and downs. So it's trying to use those downs to know that it's, good's around the corner and not beat yourself up about it. But it can be easily done in golf. It's not easy.
So moving into that, you graduate from North Carolina, you catch on, you get on a plane and you head home.
Yep, I graduated in 2011, I think it was.
Yeah. What do you start? What are you thinking? Because obviously you're probably going through the emotions of being in America, teeing it up in these glorious courses, and now you're back in England. Perhaps it's not quite as, and what does that first week feel like? And you're really trying to start your life over all over again.
Yeah, it's true. God, it's going back about 6 years now. So I'm trying to think. I mean, I did kind of want to stay in the States and play professional golf, but I just couldn't find a sponsor, and it was expensive, so it just wasn't feasible. I think I had a girlfriend at the time in England, so that probably influenced my decision a little bit. Yeah, I think it was different, but I think I came back and I worked straight away for the recruitment agency to help other players go to the States on scholarships.
And who was that?
And that it was called, now it's Future Pro USA.
Yeah.
With Dave Bainbridge, who actually went to your school, actually, funny enough. And that was great. I enjoyed it, and it was great for me to pursue and practice my golf at the same time. It wasn't like a 9-to-5 tied down job. So that was important for me because it eased some financial pressure. It was like, right, I'm getting some money in here, I'm doing what I enjoy. And at the same time, my golf is continuing to improve, and I'm working hard and can play in tournaments. If I had got a job that wouldn't let me do that, then it all could have been different. So
it wasn't your sort of standard 9-to-5. It was something that allowed you to mix and match.
Exactly. And I enjoyed it. And so carried on working hard on my golf and started to do well in some big national competitions.
Which ones were they?
And it wasn't until I did well in mainly ones in the South, to be fair. I remember the Hampshire Hog. I did well at one of those.
Yeah.
English Amateur, I got to the last 16. British Amateur, I got to the match play stages.
And were you professional this time? Or were you still amateur?
Still amateur until at the very end of 2013. And again, it wasn't, I hadn't like blitzed the amateur career, but I knew that if I turned pro, I felt like I could continue to improve and start to win. And that's what I did. So I turned pro in 2013, started to win a few one-day events to start off with, where you just literally pay your money and compete against maybe 10, 20 other pros. And
it's almost like a gambling pit, almost, if anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And what sort of money would you throw in?
Probably about £150 entry or £200 entry per tournament.
Not small change, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I did really well in those one-day events, and I felt like I could compete. I won quite a few times. Again, just got more confidence. And then in 2014, I did first season on the Europro Tour, which is basically UK's developmental satellite tour, where the top 5 in the order of merit during the season advance to the Challenge Tour, which is one step down from the European Tour. Sort of goes almost Division 1 called European Tour, Division 2 Challenge Tour, and Division 3 would be the Europro. So started off on the Europro, and it was a really good standard. Like, it was like, wow, these guys can play. It was different. It was fierce. It was good. Actually, I missed my first 3 cuts in a row in 2014 on the Europro, and I was a bit down. You think, God, do I belong here? What am I doing? Sort of thing. All these things go through your head. But then I started to play well during the season, and you get more confidence. Suddenly I came 25th, and then I had a top 10. And I think, well, actually, you know what? I can compete here. And then at the end of 2014, towards the end of the Europro season, I just suddenly won out of nowhere, really. And then I was just so confident. I won the following week as well. So I won back-to-back. and also came top 10 in the Tour Championship that year at the end of the season. So I came second in the Order of Merit and advanced the Challenge Tour for 2015. And it all sort of went from there, really. But definitely those wins, it's just proves to yourself that you can compete and win and handle the pressure. And it is very rewarding. Yeah, it is. It's brilliant.
So you get on the Challenge Tour. Is that do you sense the step up again in terms of?
Yeah, I did a little bit, to be honest. I just sort of felt like I needed to change a few things, and I mean, it's such a fine margin between making cuts and competing than missing the cut by one or two shots. And unfortunately, I missed too many cuts by one or two, and I think I was first reserve a total of 6 times as well, and got in 2 out of those 6. So 4 times I was first reserve and travelled every time and didn't get in, and that sort of crushes you a little bit.
So you could travel to somewhere like Kenya, and you could just be sitting around.
Yeah, it's awful. You go backwards. I went to Madeira twice, didn't get in. I went to Madrid and France, and yeah.
And of course, you're paying for all of that as well, right? Out of your own money.
Yep. Yeah. All the winnings from 2014 really just went down the drain. I think I paid a caddy 2 of those events as well because they were such big tournaments. If I did get in, it's I need to be fully prepared, and so I paid a caddy for 2 of them. And so yeah, you see the funds go right down, and mentally it is quite hard. You feel like you've gone backwards. Yeah, it is a bit of a killer. So just tried again to learn as much as I can. My coach was great and really tried to sort of knuckle down on my game, and that meant 2016, last year, I was back on the Europro.
Which must be quite emotional thing, going back from going down a bit.
It is. It's not where you want to be after getting promoted, but Europro is a great tour as well, and I just thought, right, if I can just try and... The main thing was to just try and get good scores together and come top 5 again and win. Prove to myself that I'll win again and push on up. And I played so well all season. I was extremely consistent, played flawless golf most of the time, and won the Tour Championship at the end of the year last year. So that meant I came second in the Order of Merit again on Europro. So that means again I'd advanced to the Challenge Tour. And that was now this year is the year on Challenge Tour, embarking on that again. So yeah, I feel like I'm much more prepared now. Booking everything from a administration sort of standpoint, knowing the transport into each venue, and the organising. That I'm much better prepared with that as well now. So I feel like that's where I belong and can compete. And the main goal is to come top 15 in the Order of Merit. The Challenge Tour, and then you get on European Tour. So
I see.
That's the goal.
And the lessons you sort of took from your first year in Challenge Tour, what lessons are you bringing into this season? Sort of perhaps things you may change.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's important to maintain my short game. Dedicate Wednesday before the tournament to do chipping and putting. Physically as well, I think I neglected it a little bit in 2015. Physically, for me, it's important, staying fit.
In terms of what did you neglect?
Well, often when you travel, there often wasn't a gym, or there wasn't facilities for me to use. So I didn't want to get injured as well. Whereas I actually need it. I need the physical side in the exercise and the stretching. So wherever I go, I try and make sure there's a gym nearby, and stay strong and flexible, because me personally, that's important. Not for every player, but for me, it definitely is.
What sort of exercises would you do?
Do a little bit of cardio. I do a lot of work on my core.
Is cardio on the bike strength. or running, or?
Yeah, a little bit of bike, a little bit of running, skipping as well.
How long would you spend on the bike or run?
Only about 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, just to keep it going. And then, like I said, do a lot of core. Make sure my core and my back muscles are strong. and my legs. My hamstrings get so tight when I travel. I have quite tight hamstrings and my legs.
Do you use bands
making
for
sure
that?
everything's loose. Yeah, I use bands. And this year I'm actually staying with a guy called Mark Lasky who graduated from Europro as well, and he's a big fitness guy. And so he's giving me some movements and help stretching as well. So that's good. So yeah, they're the things I learned really.
So you get what's the sort of you say top 15 for this season to get on the European tour? How's your start been? What's your schedule looking like?
Well, there's actually only been one event, and that was a week and a half ago in Kenya. I actually played really nicely, but I didn't chip and putt well, and I actually missed the cut by one, so it was a bad start. But I actually learned quite a lot that week, and like I said, there's 24, 25 tournaments, and that's the first one. So the next one is 17th of April, I leave in Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the second one, and then it gets really busy May onwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are you doing with your time at the moment? How are you structuring your practice?
Going to the gym quite a lot. I feel really strong and flexible at the moment. I'm working on these speed sticks, trying to get my swing speed up a little bit.
For
I'm in the gym with these
those who
speed
don't
sticks.
know what they are, what are they?
Well, they're essentially golf clubs, but instead of club head on the end, it's different weights. And I have a speed monitor, and you swing hard on one leg, on two legs, and on your knees, and you just increase your club head speed, basically.
Okay. And how long?
Club head.
How long would you spend doing that? Yeah.
Do about 20 minutes, 5 times a week.
Oh, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, I did it this morning. Yeah, and my club head speed's gone from about 111 miles an hour to 115 miles an hour average, which doesn't seem that much, but it actually is quite big.
That's some yardage, yeah.
And yeah, I could feel it in Kenya a couple of weeks ago. I really was hitting it long, especially compared to the guys I played with in Europro last year. That they might have been longer than me, but 2 weeks ago I was sending it out there. So it was good. Nice to see the hard work paying off. So I'm hitting the gym a lot. I'm practicing a lot. Luckily at Worthing Golf Club there's a few pros as well, so we have some little cash games to stay competitive. Probably play. I like to play quite a lot as well as practice, so I probably play about 4 or 5 times a week. So have some little cash games with them, and play a few little one-day events as well, where you literally pay your money and rock up against other pros, stay competitive.
And you still do the recruitment on the side of things? Is that still going?
I had one client that I placed actually a few months ago. I actually don't have anyone signed up at the moment, but I hope to.
Yeah, and that's with Future Pro.
Yes, yeah. It's just nice to have 2 or 3 on the go, but I don't at the moment. But yeah, it's a great company, and Dave's brilliant. He's on top of everything.
Yeah, I'll put a shout out to Dave in the show notes. He was my captain at college, and he's been he actually recruited me into Queens. I was looking around, and he sold me on the place then, so it was very natural in his blood. So
it really is.
Yeah. We last met actually when I went to Spain with you. Caddying. And would you go back to tour school again if that?
Yeah, if I didn't get a top 15, would do Q school. But you get certain categories on the European tour with which events you may likely get in or not.
Yeah.
And the category you get through earning your tour card through Q school is not as good as the category if you come top 15 at Challenge Tour. So the Challenge Tour route is a lot better to take than Q school. So yes, I would do Q school if I didn't get top 15, but obviously the main goal, especially this time of the season, is just to focus on the full season on Challenge and push up on the Order of Merit.
Looking back on that European Tour school experience, what was your sort of main lessons out of that? Well,
I mean, you were on the bag, weren't you? And it was just my putting, really. I felt like I was hitting it pretty solid.
I personally haven't seen a ball striking round that probably ever like that. I mean, everything was almost tapping birdies, but it was.
Yeah, it wasn't quite. I just lost a bit of confidence with the putter that week, and it happened. The week before or 2 weeks before it, Tour Championship, I hold a lot of putts, so it's just it's constant learning, like adjusting certain things. What was off that week? Why did I putt bad? Was it green reading? Was it my stroke? Kenya, I didn't putt my best either, but I had a little lesson, and I feel now that since I got back from Kenya, I've been putting extremely well. So I just feel really good.
Were you able to find an answer, perhaps, why the putting was off that week?
Well, we struggled green reading big time, didn't we, on those greens?
They're
We
very
really
subtle.
struggled green reading. Yeah. And I think I just lost a bit of rhythm with my putting, and I started off okay, and I just purely lost confidence on those greens during the week and in the course of the 4 rounds.
Yeah, it's so I went on to the final with another golfer. I caddied for him, and the thing I actually was going to call you up about, and which was quite interesting, was obviously if you miss a load of putts in a row, you're going to start doubting yourself and everything you do. And then you sort of build this sort of internal story of, I can't make a putt, I can't make a putt, I can't make a putt.
Yeah, you're right.
And then before you know it, you just keep missing putts because you've told yourself, because of the past events of what happened, this internal story of, I can't make putts, when really there's only, each putt is it's obviously very hard again to think each putt is different, and what happened, before me is not dependent on what's going to happen on this one. But that's one thing I sort of learned from the next guy. He was, although he kept missing, he was quite similar to you, struck it tee to green beautifully, but again, didn't execute on the greens. It was more of the internal story he was telling himself. I don't think was as strong as what we were struggling with, was that, we are keep missing these, and probably because you're hitting it too good,
Yeah, exactly. Who was it you caddied for again?
Matt Perry. He was New Zealand.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, really fantastic ball striker. Actually just got off to a poor first start, I think. It was just and then he was trying to recover from then. But if which I guess you just can't do at this level. You can't. It all has to be exceptional.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was even windy then, and I think it was the second time or the third time the bag fell over, and I was which it nearly went into the lake, I think, and I'm not sure what I would have done if I dropped your entire clubs in a lake.
I remember that. Yeah. It's no worries. We got through it.
Especially as I think it was the previous year. Was it a caddy, or you were caddying for yourself and your bag dropped and your driver snapped?
Yeah. That was a killer blow. Yeah, and then we got a slightly different replacement out. Yeah. So,
well, I learned a lesson. I carried the bag the whole week. The next week after, I was like, "This is not happening. I can't. I can't be dropping bags."
No, you were good though. You were good on the bag. Calming influence.
A mule.
Yeah, and it was a good fun week off the course as well. It was a good laugh.
Yeah,
it just wasn't to be.
I just want to dig in, out of respect of your time, but the sort of rituals before you play in these comps, I noticed the sort of some of the things you did, like it was the putting first, then the range. I was wondering if you could talk us through sort of your before rituals of how you.
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't.
Let's start with what you eat for breakfast. How about that?
I love porridge.
You love your oatmeal.
Absolutely love porridge. I always bring oatmeal with me. It's easy to cook. It's cheap. It's good for you. It tastes nice. It ticks all the boxes for me. I probably have too much of it actually.
And a lot of honey or sugar or something, if I remember.
Have a bit of honey. Yeah, blueberries if I'm really treating myself, or a bit of cinnamon. But I find it sets up well for me, and it definitely I don't get hungry for a while after eating it. So I have that. Do
you have coffee or just water?
Yeah, I would have coffee if I can. Make sure I've got snacks in my bag, plenty of nuts, plenty of water, fluids, some protein bars. Because I do eat quite a lot on the course. You probably vouch for that.
Yeah. What bars do you eat?
I have these like Nature Valley protein bars. I have a lot of cashews and almonds as well.
Yeah.
Quite like apples and bananas.
Is there certain holes you eat those on, or?
Not really, no. Probably a little bite. I have little and often. A little bite every maybe 2 or 3 holes. Rather than wait after 9 and then scoff everything.
Yeah.
I have little and often. But yeah, and then the warm up. I mean, I purely use the range to literally warm up. I almost don't care where the ball goes. I know my swing. I know what I'm doing. It's purely just a warm up. I can hit 20 balls and I'm done. Probably normally hit between about 15 and 30 balls.
Okay.
Especially in places where it's extremely hot. I mean, you're pounding drivers on the range in 30-degree heat. By the time you hit 8 of them, you know about it, and there's just no point. So I just treat that as purely as a warm up. Find my rhythm, hit some wedge shots, a few irons, only hit maybe 2 or 3 drivers, and I'm good to go. I try to putt first, but sometimes, for example, the range in Kenya was over a bridge across a road and right by the first tee, whereas the putting green was way by the clubhouse. So you had to hit balls before you teed off on the first. It's just the way it was. So it depends a little bit on the convenience side from that aspect. But if they're both in the same place, I would always putt first. I start off just do a few little drills on the putting to free up, and I've actually got these from the last couple of months. I wouldn't have done this when you caddied for me.
What is it you do?
I start off literally about 6 inches from the hole, so basically you can't miss really.
Yeah.
And hole it, and obviously it feels completely carefree. It's easy, there's no tension there. And then I slowly bring the ball back to a foot, to 2 foot, to 3 foot, and I want to get the same feelings as I did for that 6-inch tap in. If I found I was taking a bit longer, I thought about missing or something crept to my mind, I would go back shorter distance to a foot again. So it's easy. I couldn't miss. And it's just going through the process of feeling the right feelings rather than the outcome, feeling free and just stroking it. And eventually I'll get to 6 foot and I'm just letting it go. That's just for me mentally. And then I would do one where I put a tee in the middle of a hole and I want to hit the tee peg.
Is that the back of the hole?
Back of the hole, yeah. It's purely just focus on a small target. So rather than me just trying to hold a putt, I'm trying to hit the tee. And it also makes me a bit more aggressive because sometimes I just maybe get a little tentative on those putts. So it just makes me get the feeling of hitting the tee, back of the cup. And then the last third drill I do is to putt to nowhere. It just means literally just putt, not to a target. Just go for your pre-shot routine. There's no tension because you can't miss. You're not trying to hold anything. And it's just to feel what you're doing, what you're feeling. And to get in autopilot with your routine. So I like those 3 drills. They just get me into the right frame of mind, putting well. And then I'll just hit a few longer putts and go from there.
So say you've changed that slightly because it was very much sort of using the equipment, the putting aids.
Yeah, it was all a little technical. Not that I would think technique, but yeah, when you caddied, I definitely had a few drills out there. And now I just try and do that in practice rounds or after the round, not as a warm up.
Yeah, it seems more free flowing and more on the creative right side of the brain rather than the left. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
like I said, I've been putting really well since I come back from Kenya, and it feels brilliant. So.
And then you walk to the first tee. What is that like? And then what are you sort of thinking?
You're nervous. Everyone's a little nervous and apprehensive, but it's they're perfectly normal. I normally start pretty well, and you're just trying to get some deep breaths in and focus on the day ahead. You're ready. You're prepared. You know the course, and it's a blank canvas, so it's exciting at the same time. Really.
Do you have a game plan?
Yeah, I'm always. Oh yeah. Figure everything out in the practice. You know exactly what you're doing every single hole. So you're almost just in autopilot. You're just executing it. I know exactly what club I'm pretty much going to hit on every hole. I know exactly what direction the wind's going to be before I even wake up.
So that to me was all super interesting. I thought you were so detailed on that. You knew your numbers, like the way you figured out the end number of what yardage it was quite fascinating. I was wondering if you could sort of talk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, on Challenge Tour, you're not allowed lasers, Bushnells, so you have to use a yardage booklet. I actually quite like Bushnells. I think it's easy, it speeds it up. But hey-ho, the yardage booklet's okay. And you have certain spots in the fairway, and you just walk off and you get your yardage, and then you have a pin sheet, so you work out what it is to the front of the green, and then work out where the flag is, and you get used to doing the maths quite quickly. And I always jot down the yardage in my book, and I always write down the wind, what club I'm hitting, where it pitched, and where it finished up. So at the end, after the practice rounds and the first few rounds, I have like almost a shot diary of exactly what clubs I hit, exactly the yardage it pitched, whether it's spun back or flew or released, whatever it was. So my distance control is normally a really good aspect of my game there, literally to the yard.
Why'd you do the pitch and then the end result?
Well, the greens vary a lot. You play some weeks and they're really firm and they're releasing, and then you play other weeks and they're spinning back a lot. So you need to know. If I had 120-yard shot and I hit my pitch and wedge on one course, it may pitch 120 and finish 115. And then the next week, it may pitch 120 and go 125. That's 10 yards difference there just because of the green surface.
Right.
So, if I've got 115 yards on the soft greens, I know that I can hit my 120 yard and it should spin back to the perfect yardage. So, yeah, it's just things you need to know, really.
And the wind as well, you adjust that, don't you?
Yeah. Obviously, it can't be exact science with the wind strength, but I just try and gauge how many miles an hour it is. And I'm normally within 5 mile an hour, right?
And that would equate to a couple of yards, give or take.
Yeah. So yeah, generally I'm pretty good with my yardages. Yeah, it's really important actually. Distance control, I think anyway, really important.
And do you know all your club yardages just off? Do you have them written down in the book or?
I do have them written down, but I just know them all just through playing really. But like I said, during the practice rounds, I would have everything written down that I've done with every single club. And it's amazing, a 7-iron fade in England might go 163, whereas in Turkey, 2 weeks' time, it will go 170. In Kenya, it went 185.
So you have to adjust to those really quickly.
You have to adjust, and you have to be a little flexible. So doing that shot diary in the practice rounds, the best way I know of doing it. It's different for players that are just playing at the home course every week. They know it's not going to vary and they know what they're doing. It's just the wind they've got to take into account and the temperature. But when you start going to different altitudes and, massively different temperatures of 30 degrees, different times of the day, morning, evening, midday, it starts to have a difference.
Yeah. And so you work all of those numbers out on your practice round and hopefully implement them on the day.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, I want to just do some quick rapid fire questions before we sort of wrap up. This has been fantastic.
Sounds good. No probs.
You have $100, and you recommend that for the guest to spend that on. Could be sort of a best $100 or $100 training aid. What's the best sort of $100 they can invest their money on in golf?
Good question. Well, I'm going to be a bit businesslike here. I have a little PTJ 100 club.
Yeah.
So if you join my 100 club for $100, then you get monthly blogs and tips.
Okay,
so
that's cool.
That for the whole year, you would get a whole lot of advice. that's a proper businessman answer.
That's a proper plug-in. If I've never heard.
No, but I tell you what, I do like. I like NutriBullets. That's probably a good thing to buy as well. They're good to take with you.
Okay, that's good. We'll do both.
Bung a lot of good ingredients in there.
Pete Taver-Jones 100 Club and a NutriBullet.
There you go. So you may need $200 for that one.
And where do they? What is the 100 Club? What is that exactly?
Yeah, it's just a concept to have people follow me basically with what I'm doing and raise money for me for the year. I'm fortunate that I've got a few little small sponsors, but they're brilliant companies that have helped me. But the season costs $25,000, and it's hard for me to do it without my 100 Club. So the thought of it is to try and get 100 people paying £100, and for all the people that join my 100 Club, they get free entry to my golf day at Worthing Golf Club, where there's lots of great prizes. It's just a really fun day. So that's all entry paid for. and also they get on my blogs list. So every month I do a blog on where I've been and the tournaments. And then they also get a little Facebook group. So that when I'm away, I put photos up straight away so people can see where I am and what it's like. You know, the main thing is just to support me, really, knowing that you're part of my journey. And it's been I had a great feedback from it.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, it's been good. Yeah, you can join on ptjgolf.com.
There's another plug.
Which is my website. Yeah.
This man's good.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. No, that's I'm all for that. And
yeah, it's been good.
Is that 25 grand that covers? Is that everything? Is that like a rough estimate of?
Yeah, I mean, some tournaments are a lot more than others. Yeah, when you start going to China and Kazakhstan, Oman, yeah, it adds up quite a lot with flights and things.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, some tournaments in England or Ireland or France, you know, it's a lot cheaper. But the course of a season, yeah, it is expensive. And Challenge Tour, I mean, it has its rewards, but you know, the expenses are a lot similar to European Tour, really, and the prize money just, you know, is a fraction of what the European Tour is. So it is difficult for a lot of the Challenge Tour guys. You know, they're all in the same boat trying to save money, and you know, it's only until you get on that European Tour top sort of 100 in the world where, you know, the real 6-figure sort of money comes through. But Fortunately, it's not all easy.
And what do you make in your NutriBullet?
Oh,
what's a peat recipe?
I love avocados. I put avocados in a lot. Put in spinach, apples, cinnamon, bit of kale, maybe banana.
Is that morning for breakfast?
Yeah, morning for breakfast or a lunch snack.
Wonderful,
whatever it may be.
I will. I'll include that in the show notes, and perhaps I can get the recipe of the Pete Taver-Jones recipe to put in there.
It may not taste great, but it's good for you. It's definitely good for your body. That's a good thing.
Oh, that's the NutriBullet and the 100 Club. That's fantastic.
And lob a load of cinnamon in. It actually doesn't taste too bad.
Spices things up.
Yeah.
You're quite an avid reader.
Yes.
So what's your favourite golf book and perhaps non-golf book?
I read a book called Golf's Sacred Journey, which I really enjoyed. It shows the ups and downs of pro golf. It's about a guy that really sort of lost the plot and shot 90 in a tournament. And he had some lessons off a guru and really got down to the fundamentals, started to enjoy the game more. I really enjoyed that book, Golf's Sacred Journey.
Okay.
Took a lot from that. I love the autobiographies, learning about the players. I just finished John Daly's book, which is quite interesting. He's definitely a character.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyed the Ian Poulter autobiography, No Limits, Tiger Woods, Hank Haney book, Steve Williams, the Caddy book. I love all the autobiographies. Just find it really interesting. And yeah, I've really got into reading quite a lot. I think when you're at tournaments, it's good to sort of take your mind away from things and unwind a little bit. Definitely pass time when you're on flights and things as well. So yeah, I do love the reading.
I have to check out the Sacred Journey. I've read the other ones you've mentioned. I think I shot 90 on Saturday, so I think that'd be quite handy. I think.
There you go. I mean, it's only a short book, and there's things where you can take from it that are brilliant. It may not be for everyone, but I certainly took some good things from it. Okay, wonderful.
Do you have a quote or sort of favourite motto?
Middle of the green never moves. I remember when we were young, this South African guy said that to us in a pro shop when we were struggling on the course. And he just said, you have to go out there and remember, middle of the green never moves. So
what does that mean?
I guess it means you don't have to go for every flag and go for the middle of the greens, I guess.
Middle of the green never moves.
We always say that. All the youngsters at Worthing, we've always said that as a laugh. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
Fantastic. I know you've prepared a sort of action challenge for our guests and listeners.
Yeah.
Something that's personal to you, which they can implement in their game, or perhaps it doesn't have to be in their game, but something they can try and perhaps work on. Fire away.
Well, I have a really good drill for putting, which I find adds a bit of pressure, because ultimately it's great doing drills if there's no pressure on, but as soon as you get in tournaments, it could be a little bit different. So this drill is I try and do it more or less every day, actually. And I put out 3 tees, 1 3 feet, 1 5 feet, and 1 7 feet. It's called the 3-5-7 drill. And you have 3 golf balls at each tee, and you've got to hole all 9 of them. So 3 tees, 3 golf balls, there's 9 putts, and you've got to hole all 9.
Are the tees just diagonally back from one another?
No, I normally do like a 3, 1 straight, 1 left to right, and 1 right to left.
So you put them around the hole, like in a clock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the point of it is, you hole maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row, and by the time you get to the 8th and 9th putt, you start feeling the pressure a little bit. It's not easy. It's hard to complete, but once you're hitting that 9th putt, and you know that if you miss it, you start all over again. It just gets your heart rate going a little bit. So I think that's a really good drill for me. It adds pressure, and just treat every putt like you would on the course. All 9 putts.
Okay.
Do your pre-shot routine for every single one of them, and I think that's a great drill to add a little pressure.
Fantastic.
And stay until you complete it. Could take 5 minutes. It could take an hour. Obviously, some people don't have an hour, but try your best to complete it.
Could take you weeks. What's the longest it's taken you?
2 hours.
And the shortest?
I've done it straight away.
Okay, so there it is.
First time round.
It can take from a
and
minute
it's rewarding
to 2
because
hours.
it is hard. It is hard, and sometimes it can. It tests your patience as well.
Fantastic. Well, Pete, this has been fantastic. If anyone can find you or follow you, or perhaps get over to your 100 Club, where can they go? Are you on social networks or?
Yes, yeah, I am. My website is www.ptjgolf.com, and my Twitter, I like to tweet now and again. It's just Taver-Jones, Taver Jones. Yeah, I'm on Facebook, but I post more on Twitter these days, to be honest, with where I am, what I'm up to. I have Instagram account as well. My name's TJ_Pete123, I think it is.
Sounds so old. Sounds so like child. When you got your first, when you first got your first ever email account.
I know, TJ_Pete123.
Well, we won't forget that. Don't worry about it.
You'll see some safari pics from Kenya on there. I think I put up most recently.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Pete, we wish you the very best for this season, and hope you do get your what you're looking for, and you thoroughly deserve to be on the European tour. Some of the golf I've seen. So,
cheers, Chris. Appreciate it.
Yeah, best of luck, and hope to catch you soon, either caddying or playing some golf.
Wicked. Awesome.
Great.
Cheers,
Okay.
Chris.
Take care, Pete. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for listening to Making a Club Champion podcast. If you love the show, don't forget to leave a review. If you want to take immediate action on what you just learned, head over to www.makingaclubchampion.com, where you'll receive your own personal action challenges from the latest guests, all of the show notes, strategic philosophies, and much, much more. If you want even more from the show, head over to Instagram at @makingaclubchampion, where you'll receive lots of golden nuggets and gems and goodies. Until next time, thanks for listening.